Hi everyone, and welcome to It's a Wiggly podcast, the podcast where we explore the history of the Wiggles. I'm Bonnie.
I'm Zecoa.
And we hope you enjoyed this episode of It's a Wiggly podcast.
Fruit salad, yummy yummy. Fruit salad, yummy yummy.
Holy shit, it's been a while, hasn't it?
I mean, yeah, it's certainly been a while and everything, pretty much it's been such a very long while since we left this fruit salad out in our front yard.
Holy shit, how long has it been? A year?
A year, and I mean, let me see. Okay, it is a year. Get the shit out of here.
Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of It's a Wiggly podcast. Holy shit, we're finally back to do yummy yummy.
Yes, we are finally back to talk about the Wiggles and everything. I bet you guys are already thinking to yourself, well, that project was fun while it lasted. But no, we're still doing this project and such because reasons, I don't know.
Because I love the Wiggles, pretty much. But anyway, hey,
pretty much, yeah,
I'm your host Bonnie. I'm your host Bonnie, and I'm here with my co-host.
According to Diesel, everybody, hello.
Welcome back to It's a Wiggly podcast. Originally, we were going to film this episode in November of 2024, but we had a family emergency on Zecoa's side, so we had to shut down the episode completely.
Yeah, let's just say that, a lot of shit definitely, a lot of shit was definitely taken down between, Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything. And plus, too, that, not only that, but, we figured we could also use this time to finish up season 9 as well, too, of Thomas and Friends. So, pretty much we figured once we get done with that, then we'll be ready to go back into doing the Wiggles, and lo and behold, here we are.
Here we are, and we already had ranked the songs long before we had to take a break because, I think the plan was we were going to film this after Thanksgiving, and then we were going to publish it, but then you had the family emergency, and I got burnt out, so we decided to push it off.
Yeah, pretty much. And actually, yeah, he is right. Not only do we have, the songs ready to go, or at least we already given them the ratings and everything, I think it was also right around, pretty much, Barney and I were also watching the VHS tapes that came along with the album and everything. And pretty much, as you said, family emergency, found away and everything, and pretty much with the burnout and Thomas and all that, we both pretty much decided that it would be best to take another long break until we are both ready to finally come back to pick up where we left off. And like I said, here we are.
Yeah, finally after so long. So Yummy, this is an interesting album actually. This is the one.
Yes.
This is the very first one on this podcast where basically it's not deleted from the canon. You can still find it anywhere, and you can buy it. You can buy it for cheap these days because this album sold very well.
Pretty much, both in the original Australian release and even when it first came to the United States and everything. Pretty much both versions sold very well. That as Barney said, to this day, this is the only album from the old days of the Wiggles where you can still buy it and such. So pretty much, if you want to listen to the songs how it was originally, well, pretty much there's nothing really stopping you from buying it unless you're poor.
So the U.S. and Australian versions do have some differences, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Like Zecoa said, this one sold very well. It sold very well, and the U.S. version sold even more, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, this is the one that has the songs "Hot Potato," "Shaky Shaky," fruit salad, of course, and all
fruit
the songs
salad and all that. The debut album was pretty much the Wiggles' first step into the music industry. That we could definitely say that Yummy Yummy was definitely the album that really skyrocketed their popularity massively and such.
Yeah, it skyrocketed their popularity in Australia, and they were slowly starting to become hey, look at this, a children's group that is like a rock band. Let's go check them out. Basically, this is the album that
pretty much as soon as the US pretty much found out where they could find their own kid version of the Beatles, they were just yeah, we need to sign these guys up fast.
Yeah, and the U.S. version came out in 1999, It was first released by Lyric Studios. Yes, that Lyric Studios, the same company that owned Barney. And then Hit Entertainment re-released it in 2003, which is the version I had as a kid. And we're going to talk about it in a little bit. But let's just say that that was one. That was I think that was the only Wiggles album I owned on CD until I got Surfer Jeff a couple years later. And yeah, this is an album I used to play as a kid over and over again. And as a kid, I loved almost all the songs. There were a couple that I was like, eh. But now going back to this album as an adult, holy crap, this album is very good.
I mean, like, yeah, like, first time listening to this album and everything, I turned to Barney, and I was just like, you know what? I understand, like, you know, how this album, like I said, I put the Wiggles on the map as, like, you know, one of the most popular, like, you know, children's band groups out there and such.
Definitely. Now before we get started, I was also gonna mention this. This is the first episode where we're gonna split the album and the VHS into two sections because I figured it's a little bit too difficult to talk about them at the same time because I'm talking about the song and talking about it at the same time with the video. I'm like, yeah, it's best to split both sections into two parts. But yeah, without further...
pretty much as Barney said, like, what we're gonna do is that, like, we're just gonna focus solely on the album first. And then once we get done with all the songs and pretty much ranking the album itself, then we'll move on to the videos real quick.
Exactly. Now the videos, both videos have a couple differences. The 94 and 98 versions do have some differences, but we'll get into that when we get into the VHS section. And we're gonna talk about why the hell were the Wiggle puppets in the US version once we get to the VHS section.
Yeah, pretty much. Just wait till we get to that section. It says, because I also have a bit of an interesting story on my part on when it came to that section of the VHS and such.
Yeah. So without further ado, before we get started, one more thing. Going into this album, what were your expectations?
Honestly, nothing really like all that much. And so there's like pretty much after we got done listening to like, you know, the third album and everything, and hearing you like. Pretty much, like, in a way, hyping this album up as being the one that, like I said, like, pretty much kicked the Wiggles off into, like, you know, the popularity and everything, as we've stated multiple times and such. I wasn't too sure what to think on the album at first, because I knew that, like, you know, this is where, like, the fruit salad and the hot potato came in and such, so... but like I said, like, the more we listened to each of the songs presented on this album, the more I was just like... All right, well, you know what? I'm sold. Now I completely understand, like, you know, how and why the Wiggles to this day are, like, household names for, like, some people and such.
Yeah, pretty much. So, shall we get into the album? Because we got 21 songs to cover, so...
Yes. Is there any, like, background information in terms of, like, how this album was made or anything, or...?
There's not much information out there. The only thing I could find is that it was recorded in the same studio they recorded the debut album. That's the first thing.
Okay. So pretty much after that, not that much, you know, major event or any, like, noteworthy thing happening and such.
No, not much happened. Not much happened in '94. The only thing that happened was that they recorded this album and they released the VHS to accompany the album. It was released on March 12th, 1994, and I think that's about it because I couldn't find much information on the backstory. The backstory portions are gonna be a little bit lacking because I don't think until we get to like the movie, that's when we're gonna have more information to talk about. Because for now, the background portion is just gonna be like basic information, basically, because there's not much to it.
Yeah, that makes sense and such. One thing I do want to note and such, because like it's more so for the VHS and everything. So like, I think we brought this up when we did the songs and stories episode on how we felt that like even the Wiggles themselves kind of wanted to forget that like this album ever existed and such. And pretty much my first proof of that was that like when I was looking at the end credits on like the '94 version of Wiggle Time, they did not mention that album at all during their like lineup and such of what you could buy from them. So even way back then, the Wiggles were just like, yeah, let's never talk about this album again.
I think the reason they decided not to, you know, re-release it is because that album was made as a ABC for Kids storyline. It was a separate series from them. It was technically a Wiggles album, but not really at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
but still, at the same time, like, you know, I kind of find it funny that even early on, the Wiggles are just kind of like, what album?
Honestly, I would just buy it just for completion's sake, but I don't like that album at all. So I agree with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we should get into the songs. So you want to take off the first track?
Sure. All right. So the very first one we have is Hot Potato. Pretty much a song that, like, funny enough, that, like, I actually do know about, but I don't know for sure if the one that I remember actually did came from the Wiggles or if it came from someone else. But I remember, like, a very long time ago and everything, like, pretty much like when I was back in grade school, like, we actually did used to play the game, Hot Potato and such. So, like, I am actually a little bit familiar with the song, and pretty much like the first time that, like, I heard it and everything, like, yeah, pretty much, yeah, like, much like Get Ready to Wiggle from their debut album and such. This song is actually a very strong song to start off the album and everything with, like, pretty much like with the catchy instruments and everything, simple lyrics, just shouting, like, hot potato, or cold spaghetti, or mashed bananas, or whatever and everything. Pretty much like, yeah, you got a really strong song right here that any little kid will be able to remember from, like, years on end and such. So, yeah, I really don't have too much to say on it and such.
I'm curious. I want to know this.
Go ahead.
When you played the hot potato game, you said you were in grade school, right? You were in pre-kinder or something like
Yeah.
that. All right. That was like in the late '90s, right?
Yeah, for me, like, yeah, this was like early 2000, like early to mid 2000s and such.
All right.
Yes.
So you would you would have been so that version that played would have been the '98 version because that was the only version that was available in America. So yeah.
That is very possible. Although, to be fair, like, I don't recall, like, if the teacher ever, like, actually put the song on, like, CD, or if, like, she just, like, sang it herself. Right now, like, as far as, like, my vague memory is concerned and everything, I believe she actually did sing it herself and everything. So I never actually got the chance to, like, actually listen to, like, whichever version, like, Hot Potato would have come out from the radio and everything. But I do remember playing the game Hot Potato and such.
Okay.
Like, pretty much, like, that's the only, like, my connection in terms of, like, sort of connection in terms of, like, this song, was just, like, playing the game Hot Potato back in grade school and such.
All right. All right. So hot potato for me. Before you give your rating, let me talk about a little bit about my history of hot potato.
Go ahead.
For me, hot potatoes has always been a Wiggles classic. Doesn't matter what version I listen to, it's still a classic because it's such a fucking easy song to do. Like, you can do the movements. It's so catchy as well. And,
Yeah, it's like, I like pretty much, like I said, like, very catchy with the instruments, and even, like I said, the lyrics are just so very simple that, like, anyone can just sing and, like, do the moves, like, whenever they feel bored and such.
Yeah, and if you go to a Wiggles concert, they always do hot potato because they gotta do it. And this is something, and this is a song I never get sick of them doing because, and you must have hot potato in a Wiggles concert. It's not a Wiggles concert without hot potato. Yeah, so for me, the version I prefer the most. I like them both equally. Both the '94 and '98 versions are pretty good, actually, or I should say '99 because because of the album. But I think both versions are very strong. So
Yeah, honestly, like, same here. Like, for me, honestly, I'm gonna lean a little bit more towards, like, the '94 version. It is more so has to do with, like, both the middle section as well as, like, how the music video portrays them and such. Probably they go, like, wiggly wiggly woo, give me that food and such. Like,
I prefer that.
I
I prefer that. I prefer that part over the '99 version because I think it's much better because the that gets that gets a little bit annoying fast, but it's not that bad.
I mean, yeah, it's not that bad. Like, in hindsight and such and everything.
It's not that
I was
bad.
just like, I think, like, with how, like, the '94 version goes about it, and again, with the music video that, like, accompanies it and everything, like, I think it actually makes the song stand out even stronger, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree with you there. So this song originally started out as a song called Hot Tamale, actually. Yeah, when the Wiggles used to busk in the early '90s, this was one of the songs they played while they busk. It was called Hot Tamale. And when they went to record it for this album, they were like, kids are not gonna know what a tamale is, so we're gonna sing about potatoes. And well, this song was born, and it's a Wiggles classic to this very day.
Yeah. I mean, like, as Barney said and everything, like, pretty much as he says, like, if you go to a Wiggles concert, pretty much expect, like, them saying hot potato, like, pretty much guaranteed and such.
Pretty much. So go ahead, give your rating for Hot Potato.
Alright, so for me, hot potato. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna give it a strong 9 out of 10 for Hot Potato and such. It's still a classic to this day. I really don't have that much like negative to say about it and everything. Even with the slight nitpick I had with like the middle section in terms of like the '98 version and everything, as Barney said, both versions are still very strong. I could listen to like either version just fine and such.
Same here. For me, it's also a 9. This is a Wiggles classic, and like I said, they have to play this live no matter what because this song is a classic. So yeah, that's Hot Potato. Next up, we got Shaky Shaky, and Shaky Shaky is my favorite song from this album, actually.
Same here, actually. Like, yeah, I pretty much. Honestly, it's very surprising. Like, not only do we have a very strong like opening song for this album and everything, but we also, but after that, we have another very strong song right after it and such.
Shaky Shaky. This one was originally written for Bananas in Pajamas. Are you familiar with Bananas in Pajamas?
I at least know the name, but I never really grew up with it.
Alright. So it was a show in Australia about these two bananas that literally were pajamas. And this song was written by all four Wiggles, and it was originally titled it was originally titled "Hey There Everybody," but then the Wiggles took it back and they rewritten it to basically be Shaky Shaky. And this song kicks ass.
I agree. I mean, like, I definitely agree right there.
My favorite part is the part where they go, well, then shake a little faster, and then shake a little slower. Love that part. And when they slow down the music, as well, I love that. It's a very good song.
Same here. Like, pretty much I was telling Bonnie, like, right over here, but, like, some of these Wiggle songs, like, now I don't know, like, I highly doubt this was the case. I could believe, like, the latter part of what I'm about to say right now. There's Wiggle songs where it's just, like, I can easily see this playing in, like, the old Jumpstart era games, like, you know, Jumpstart First Grade especially, because, like, pretty much I was, like, showing Barney, like, one of the Jumpstart songs and everything, and pretty much even he agrees that, like, you know, there's a strong possibility that, like, they might have taken some inspiration from the Wiggles and such, because I could definitely, like, hear the song playing on the radio and, like, Jumpstart First Grade, and that's, like, pretty much, like, one of the reasons why, like, I gravitated towards the song and everything, because, again, you know, simple lyrics and everything, but the instruments helped out very well. And honestly, I was a little surprised that, like, you know, they managed to do, like, a music video for this song twice, actually. And even in both times, like, they managed to make this song work as a music video and such, like...
Between the two music videos they did for it, I prefer the 98 one because they dressed up as Elvis Presley, you know.
Pretty much, honestly, like, yeah, I also lean towards more the 98 version, like, in terms of the outfits as well, too, because, like... the 94 version, they still look nice and everything, like, pretty much, you know, capture, like, the kind of, like, classical vibe and everything that the song was going for and such. But there is something about, like, the 98 version that definitely gives the song a lot more, jazz, shall we say.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. So for me, Shaky Shaky, I don't have too much to say, and this is a 10 out of 10, easily.
I mean, honestly, same here, 10 out of 10. I literally don't have that much to add about it, so... yeah, still a very strong song, and pretty much let's go ahead and move on to the next song, the Fruit Salad. Oh, sorry, Fruit Salad, actually. Fruit Salad.
Before Fruit Salad starts, we had an intro where Anthony talks about it's fun to make fruit salad, but we're not going to count that because it's just an intro. So we just move on to the song.
Yeah, pretty much Anthony is just like, explains what the next song is about and everything. Like, he pretty much tells the kid, like, tells the kids about, like, how they can make a fruit salad too. Just make sure they have a plastic knife. And there's a grown-up with that because Lord knows, like, you know, pretty much once a kid has a plastic knife, it's game over.
but then we move on to Fruit Salad. Now before you talk about the song, I was gonna mention this song was recorded in '93 because it was featured in the Wiggle Time '93 video. If you remember.
Yes, that's true. So for those that are, I'm a little confused on why, like, this version of Fruit Salad was not in the original Yummy Yummy music video of VHS. That's why. Pretty much, like, you know, they already recorded Fruit Salad, like, pretty much a year ago, like, before it ever made it to the album and such.
And it was featured on the Wiggle Time video, so that's why it didn't appear in the '94 version. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, technically it kind of appears, but only, like, at the end credits
and the end credits, pretty much.
Yeah, but pretty much, yeah, so, alright, so this is the song, Fruit Salad, where, again, if you go back to, like, when we first reviewed the Wiggle Time VHS and everything, Pretty much we mentioned that like this song is so popular and everything that like even Barney recalls this song like being used back in his school and such and everything as well too and such.
It became a meme pretty
And
much in my school, actually.
pretty much, and in some way, like I think it slowly became a meme a little bit. Like, okay, now to be honest, I don't remember like if anyone like in my school outright like saying the song or anything. But like, Brucella was the one where like I kind of vaguely remember like people like talking about it a little bit and such. So I did know that going in that this was like the Wiggles pretty much like a mainstream song. Like, if not Hot Potato, then this is definitely the song that like most people remember the Wiggles for. And pretty much after listening to it on Wiggle Time and everything, I could definitely see why. Like, this song right here, pretty much if I was a kid and I heard this song for the very first time, I would probably put it on a loop, no joke and such, because, like, everything about this song just works. From the simple lyrics to, like, how to make a fruit salad and everything, to, like, the instruments and the background. And I pretty much, like, whether it be one of the Wiggles or, like, one of the chefs from like the '98 version singing "Yummy, yummy, yummy, yummy fruit salad." Yeah, pretty much just the way that like they were able to hit those notes and everything. Like I said, like now I could definitely see why this song is well remembered and well loved by the Wiggles fans to this day and such. Because like everything about it just works.
And even the Wiggles themselves, you know, when they do those shows for adults, you know, the adults sing the song and you know they're like, we could just go home. They know the song by memory.
Pretty much. I mean, like for good reason, such because, like I said, if I was a kid and I heard a song, I probably might want to make a fruit salad of my own too. Because, like I said, not only are the lyrics simple, but like they're simple enough that any kid that pretty much like it's like Anthony, Greg, and any of the other Wiggles said, like. Anyone could just pretty much go ahead and make a fruit salad. Like, they technically, like, already have all the ingredients from the lyrics alone and such. So pretty much, like, yeah, they wanted to make a fruit salad, they could go ahead and make a fruit salad and such. Which, that right there is pretty much ingenious on the Wiggles' part and such.
Indeed, and it's no reason why this song is still played live to this very day. It's good, you know, it's very good. And catchy, too, as well.
I mean, yeah, very catchy. Like I said, from the instruments to the lyrics and everything, like... I really can't think of anything bad to say. So is there anything that you want to add to your thoughts on fruit salad, Bonnie?
No, I think you said pretty much everything I was gonna say. This song is catchy, and you know, it's no wonder why it became a meme later on. You know, because it's so damn good.
Pretty much, you know what? Yeah, like I'm gonna give fruit salad a deserved 10 out of 10 and such. Like I literally can't think of anything bad to say, and every time that like I listen to it, it just keeps on getting better and better for me.
All right, for me it's a 9 out of 10, and that speaks how great the song is for me as well.
Yeah.
All right, next up is Willaby Wallaby Woo. An elephant sat on poo. Willaby Wallaby Wee. An elephant sat on me. Holy crap. Talk about another strong song, and I think the funniest song on the entire album is this one. Now, this is a rappy song, and the Wiggles do a fantastic cover of it. Holy crap, this song is fucking hilarious.
It is. I mean, it is. It is, because, and Barney can attest to this, because, like, the first time we listened to the song way back when and everything, like, pretty much, like, you know, I was laughing the whole time, like, every time that, like, the Wiggles were using like a name to basically rhyme whatever this elephant was doing and such.
Yes, this is one song you definitely have to play in a kindergarten because it's so much fun.
Pretty much, yeah. Like we played at a kindergarten or daycare or anything. Like you know, I can imagine a lot of little kids like pretty much laughing along at like you know the silliness of the lyrics and such.
What's your favorite part of the song?
Let's see. I'm trying to remember the lyrics. Me, sat on Greg. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay. Honestly, my favorite part is when, like, pretty much they're looking for a word to rhyme with Joseph. So pretty much he was singing like Willaby Wallaby Woosif, an elephant sat on Joseph.
Oh man, my favorite part is not only the kazoo part. My favorite part is the ending.
Actually, okay, yeah, like pretty much that's the second best moment right there.
The song ends and then Yeah, woo!
Woo! Yeah.
No joke.
And then pretty much you hear someone clapping in the background like it's a monkey or something.
No joke. That I used to loop that part so much, and when I had the Yummy Yummy CD, I think I wore that song out that it skipped. But I don't.
Pretty much even your radio was just like, I don't want to listen to that song anymore.
No. I mean, like I went, rewinded it a little bit so I could hear the clapping at the very end. Pretty. and pretty much, and yeah, pretty much. This song is still as good as I remember it as a kid, and to be honest, it's a 10 out of 10 again.
I mean, honestly, same here. 10 out of 10 for me. Like, again, this is another song where I can't think of anything bad to say about it. So, yeah, 10 out of 10.
I really wish they would have made a music video for this one, because if there's one song that deserves a music video, it's this one.
You know what? Like, pretty much how much funny would it be if, like, if pretty much they made a music video and pretty much it's just like, and pretty much just the Wiggles, like, pretty much like, sitting on a bunch of kids and everything, and every time, like, and they pretty much had to call out a name on, like, who's gonna get sat on today.
or even better, they could have used a very, very early CGI elephant.
It could have, actually. It could have. It pretty much, like, pay someone in, like, an elephant suit to, like, sit on the Wiggles' lap or something.
Yeah, pretty much. Alright, so next up is, Come On, Let's Jump. You want to take this one?
Sure. Honestly, for this one, I don't have too much to say on it. Like, again, it's a very simple song with, my favorite part being the, accordion, like, right in the middle and everything. Yeah, we don't have too much to say. It's just pretty much a simple one about, like, getting kids to jump and everything. And it's really about it. So, anything you want to add? Because, like, I really have nothing to say on the song.
It's very short, too. It's, like, only a minute long.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, pretty much, yeah. Like, it was very close to, like, approaching the minute mark by just 20 more seconds.
To me, this one screams filler. This one, to me, screams a little bit filler.
Yeah. But at the same time, they gave us some credit. Like, at least, like, it was a very short filler.
Yeah, it's only 1 minute, so, it's not that bad. For me, Come On, Let's Jump, I'm gonna... Originally, in my list, I was gonna give it an 8. But for this time, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna give it a 7 as well, too. Like, again, it's a fine song, and, like, I get pretty much one where, like, I don't mind listening to it, seeing that, like, it's short to begin with. And like I said, pretty much the accordion part and everything pretty much helps, like, get the song, like, at least a strong boost that it does need.
Pretty much. Alright, next up we got is Walk. Another classic.
Walk to your favorite zoo. Walk on your way to school.
Walk. This one is a classic.
Swimming pool. It is.
This one is a classic. Between this one and the 94, 98 music videos, I'm gonna go 94 easily, because it reminds me a lot of Monty Python.
In a way, it does. And honestly, it's a lot more creative, too. Like, I pretty much just having the Wiggles looking down and realizing that, like, their legs are going in the opposite direction on where they're going. Like, that is some pretty, some creative and, like, funny stuff right there as well, too. So, like, pretty much, like, yeah, like, it's another song that, like, definitely has a lot of energy going for it and such.
I gotta give it to the 94 version, because I gotta be honest, this is one of the ones where the 98 version, they didn't even try. They just
pretty much, like, yeah, like, honestly, I have a feeling that's what we're probably going to be saying, like, a lot with the 98 version when comparing, like, the 94 versions of some of these songs. Like, pretty much the 98 version is just literally just walking and running around and everything. That's literally about it.
Yeah, but as for the song itself, it's very good. I don't have too much negatives to say. It's a great song. 98 version sucks ass, the video, not the song. The 98 version sucks ass, 94 version kicks ass.
And yeah, honestly, like, same here. I don't have too much to say on the song itself either. Like, very catchy and everything. And honestly, I do like the part. I do like this part of the song where pretty much like Greg putting out a little more to the kids and being like, hey, make sure you don't walk to the park after dark, okay?
Yeah. So
but pretty much, like, yeah, other than that, like, it's a fine song and such. I also don't have that much negative things to say about it either.
For me, I'm going to give Walk an 8. It's still a great song either way.
And honestly, same here. It's going to get an 8 from me as well.
Alrighty. So next up we got is Fedodo.
Do.
Boki Fedo. Fedodo. All right, this one is interesting.
Honestly, yeah. Listening, honestly, thinking of it off the top of my head and everything, and like listening to it and such, like it's just, yeah.
I agree. As a kid, I used to love it a little bit more because I never heard the song before. But as I got older, I'm like, you know what? It didn't age that well for me. The only thing I'm gonna say that saves the song for me is that accordion. The accordion is the best part of the entire song.
Honestly, the accordion, and honestly, I still stand by that. Like Greg definitely has a very strong voice.
Oh yeah.
Going for him and such.
Oh yeah. Greg is also one of the song's highlights. I think Greg has got an amazing voice. But sometimes sometimes a good voice sometimes a good voice in an S song doesn't help it.
Yeah. Pretty much like yeah, it just all depends on like lyrics and how the song is executed, and pretty much like yeah, it's one of those it's one of those songs where it's like, at least for me and everything, like the accordion and even Greg's voice were not enough to at least like give the song a fair pass, at least to me. So that's why for this one I'm giving it a 5 out of 10.
I'm gonna be a little bit more generous and give it a 6 because at least the accordion is the thing that keeps me interested in the song. The same applies for Greg's voice. All right, next up.
Ponies, alrighty. This is another song. At least it turns to the '98 version, actually. It turns to the '98 version. This was actually pretty much, I believe, this was released before the U.S. got their got the album release of Yummy Yummy. Am I correct?
Both came out at the exact same time, so they would have been already available. So they came out at the exact same time. So.
Pretty much like this was another song where like I pretty much like I already had like an early listen to in the Wiggle time and everything, and honestly like this is one of those songs where like you really do need that music video and such, like not as strongly and everything, because even the song by itself, like it's still a very catchy song and such. Like I like how the Wiggles were able to like collect their tongues to pretty much like mimic the sounds of like ponies galloping across and everything. And again, it's another one where like simple lyrics and such, but like the instruments and everything like around it just really helps this song like stand out very well. And again, that music video also helped as well too. Like pretty much whoever made like the horses costume for like the kids and everything, they did a very damn good job with those costumes and such.
I agree. The 98 version, they didn't do one for 94, so yeah, the 98 version is the only one you're gonna get, and it's a very good music video, I will admit.
It is, so that's why, actually, before I go ahead and get my rating, anything you want to add for Ponies?
No, it's a great song. On its own, without the music video, it's still a good song. It's pretty catchy, and it's a song you can listen to.
It's a song that you can listen to, and again, like, the way the instruments and, like, the tones, like, how make the clicking noise and everything. I could definitely, picture like, the ponies actually galloping back home inside my head and so like that's a sign of like a very good way of like getting kids immersive with the song itself. So honestly, with that, okay, honestly, you know what? I'm still gonna keep this song at as a strong 8 out of 10. Because at the end of the day, like even though I still like the song as much and everything, it's definitely not gonna be it's definitely not going to be ranking up as any higher as, like, say, like, hot potato or fruit salad. But at the same time, this is still a very good song. I can honestly see myself coming back to from time to time again.
Yeah, same here. I'm also going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm in the same boat as you. All right, so Monkey Dance is next. Let me take this one first. I'll go with this one first. This one is very interesting. Because the first time we listened to the 94 version, I hadn't listened to the 94 version in ages. The only time I heard it was when I discovered the 94 version of Yummy Yummy on YouTube when I was a kid. And on first listen, I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't like it at all. Then after the second listen, I still didn't like it. And then the third listen, I'm like, okay, you know what? This is not that bad. However, the one from the US version destroys it.
Yeah, honestly, you know what? Like... pretty much, I was gonna say the same thing. I like, as much as I also like the '94 version, like, don't strongly dislike it as such. Like, I pretty much like, I forgot how kick-ass like '98 version was and such. Like pretty much the way they added that saxophone in and everything to the song, it pretty much did pretty much destroyed that song wholeheartedly, or at least destroyed the '94 version.
Oh, totally. It totally destroys it. And the 90 and the US version is much shorter than the original. The original is a little bit much longer because they loop some parts, and I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit unnecessary. But still, the song on its own, without talking about the instrumentation, the song on its own is pretty good. I'll give them that.
It is like, and honestly, pretty much at least to me, like I think both versions, like, at least in terms of, like both music videos and everything, it still make the song like stand out. It definitely do help like give the song identity and everything. Just having like Greg and the kids are pretty much going ahead and doing like animal dances and everything, whether it be a monkey or pretty much be like elephant or the tiger and everything. Pretty much like yeah, it definitely does help the song give the visual approach that it definitely did need it and such.
Indeed, and someone asked Greg in one of his Q&As, what's your favorite Wiggle song to perform live? And he said Monkey Dance.
And pretty much like, yeah, before you guys ask, yes, the Wiggles did the monkey dance long before Johnny Bravo did in the intro.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, Greg said, they asked him what was his favorite Wiggle song to perform live, and he said Monkey Dance because he just loved seeing the children do the dances with them.
And honestly, like, yeah, listening to that and even seeing both versions, you can really tell he's having a blast doing them. Pretty much like doing the dance with the kids and such, and honestly, that is very sweet.
Indeed. So for me, Monkey Dance, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. It's not one of my favorite songs from the album, but I will admit it's still a pretty good song.
All right, well, for me, I'm gonna go one rating higher and give it an 8 out of 10, cause like I said, like even without the music video, a little bit and everything, like. Just the way the instruments like were able to like come together, and hearing like the lively voice coming out of Greg, and even like the Wiggles like joining along to like making the animal noises and such. Like again, this is another song where, like honestly, I can easily see why Greg loves performing this song so much. I could definitely easily see why the kids would love to perform this song with him as well too. Pretty much, it's a perfect song to pretty much like get the kids to exercise without them even knowing that they're exercising. They're just having a great time, dancing.
Indeed.
So for me, I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10.
Alright. So next up is D-O-R-T-H-Y, my favorite dinosaur. Go ahead, take this one.
AKA Dorothy. Alright, so at least for me, in terms of my experience with the song Dorothy, at first, like, pretty much the first time that we listened to this song and everything, I will admit, it definitely wasn't as strong as like the other two Dorothy songs that we have heard up until this point and such.
Dorothy's Birthday Party. I still hate Dorothy's Birthday Party.
Yes, we all know that. Yes, we all know that Barney did not want to go to Dorothy the dinosaur's birthday party and such.
Wait up till we get to the VHS when we talk about the 94 VHS because I got a good story.
Yeah, pretty much. I still remember the time that Greg grabbed him by the shoulder, and he was just like, "I said, did you want to come to Dorothy the dinosaur's birthday party?"
Wait until we talk about the VHS because we have a funny story regarding that.
Yeah, very much. But anyways. Anyway, so after coming back to listening to the song after a good long while and everything, and even taking a look at like the 94 music video and even the 98 music video, I'll be honest, this is another song that actually grew on me a little bit more. Like, honestly, what helped me like gravitate the song a little bit more was like, again, like, the instruments, like, definitely live up the song a lot. And hearing like the kids and the Wiggles spelling out Dorothy's name and pretty much like explaining how much Dorothy is their favorite dinosaur and everything, and doing a little dance and such. Like, again, both music videos are like another reason that helps like get the song like the lively like excitement that it needed again and such.
Yeah, this one I do agree. You do need this one. Is one where you need the music video. You definitely need it because on its own it's not that bad, but without the context, it's not the same song.
Yeah. And honestly, like I said, like, pretty much, like, now that we took in that long break and everything, I could safely say that again, like, while Dorothy might not be on a top 5 like anytime soon and everything, I definitely would rank this a little bit more higher than I definitely would have like having gone with like our original thoughts way back in like November and everything. So before I give my rating, do you want to go ahead and give your thoughts on the song real quick, Bonnie?
Yes, of course. For me, the version I prefer the most for this one is the 98 version. The 98 version is much better. There's nothing wrong with the 94 version. I think the reason I levitate more towards the 98 version is that it's more upbeat. The 94 version is much more slower. I still like it, but come on. The 98 version exists and is much more lively. So I'll take that over the 94 version.
Yeah, pretty much I understand where you're coming from with that.
So go ahead, give your rating for
Alright, so my rating for Dorothy, my favorite dinosaur. Honestly, I'm gonna be a little bit more generous to give it an 8 and such.
All right, I'm gonna give it a 7 actually.
Alrighty, but pretty much the 7's still not that bad.
All right, so next up we got another Raffi song. This is another cover called "Shake Your Sillies Out." We're gonna shake your sillies out, shake your sillies out, shake your sillies out, wibble our wobbles away. Like Will It Be Wallaby Woo, this song it's another fun song. I really love "Shake Your Sillies Out."
It is, and honestly, like this is another song where pretty much like, again, like can help a kid like get the exercise that they probably need first thing in the morning and everything.
Indeed. What's your favorite part of this one? Because I'm very interested to hear what's your favorite part of this one.
All right, so honestly, like my favorite part of this one, honestly, I will say that like I pretty much like. Every time that like Greg pretty much like does an action on the song and everything, it always ends with like wiggle and wobble away, and then pretty much you hear like pretty much you hear the piano in the background, almost like they're getting ready to like either move on to the next scene or it's like something that like I can actually hear in like a cartoon and such, where like either they're ready to move on to the next scene or that like the episode is about ready to come to an end and such.
Yeah, pretty much. My favorite part is the one where Greg says, "Oh, this is fun, and it's made us really tired. Let's have a stretch and a yawn.
Let's have a stretch and yawn.
We're gonna stretch, yeah." And then you hear Jeff yawning in the background, and I'm like, "What the hell, Jeff?"
And yeah, pretty much. Honestly, you know what? Like, I'm a little surprised that like they didn't put this in like either of their music videos and such and everything, because pretty much I could easily see this like honestly I could easily see an intermission of the song where pretty much like the Wiggles are about ready to move on to the song, but then they saw that like Jeff actually is falling asleep, so pretty much they do the usual "wake up, Jeff," and then pretty much they go ahead and finish up the song.
Yeah, same here. It will fit perfectly. I'm surprised it didn't make this into a music video actually. So yeah, for me, I have nothing bad to say about this song. This song is really fun, like super fun. So for me, I'm gonna give "Shake Your Sillies Out" a 7. No, I was originally gonna give it a 7, but it's an 8. It's an 8 for me.
Ooh, interesting. All right. Well, for me, I'm gonna give it a solid 7 and such. It's still a fine song for where it is. I have nothing really, that bad to say about it and everything. So
I will say this though. I will say this though. Compared to "Will It Be Wallaby Woo," "Will It Be Wallaby Woo" is a more fun song than "Shake Your Sillies Out." But this one's still fun. But yeah, come on, "Will It Be Wallaby Woo" destroys it.
I definitely agree.
So yeah, next up would be the numbers joke, which would be the "Why was number 10 scared?"
7, 8, 9. That's right.
I never got that joke as a kid until I got older, and I'm like, oh, because 7, 8, as in 8 it, 9. I'm like, oh, very clever, very clever.
And that kids is what we call homophones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Who do you know?
All right. So next up would be another Raffi cover, "Numbers Rumba." Go ahead and take this one.
Yeah. All right. So honestly, for me, pretty much I know that like there's probably gonna be one of those songs where like Barney and I might have a slight different opinion on and everything, but pretty much to me, "Numbers Rumba," like this was another song where pretty much like if I was to hear this as a kid, I would have instantly loved it and such, because like I pretty much I was always the math kid growing up and everything, like anything that had to do like with numbers and everything, I was totally on board and such. So pretty much like if I was to hear the song and even see like honestly, at least for me as a US kid, I probably would never have saw the music video, because for reasons Barney will explain later on and everything.
Yeah, let's
but at the
to give a little sneak peek. Basically, any song that the Wiggles covered that was made by Raffi, they had to cut it out from the U.S. version for reasons I'll explain once we get to the VHS. But continue.
Yes, but pretty much like yeah. So, but at the very least, like if I had at least like picked up the U.S. version of the Yummy Yummy album and everything, I probably would have played the song like a couple of times, like as much as I wanted to, because like I said, like anything that had to do with numbers, like well, pretty much like automatically gets a win in my book. And pretty much the way that like the song is like
structured,
being used, yeah, pretty much just like being used, being recorded, and everything. Like, pretty much like yeah, this is another song where like pretty much like you can see the Wiggles' creativity coming into play. Because honestly, I did not notice this until Barney pointed out. But yeah, every time that like the Wiggles were getting ready to like mention a certain number, whether it be 1, 2, or 3. Anthony would actually, start playing the trumpet, matching, like, the numbers that the Wiggles, like, were holding up. So pretty much let's say that, like, Greg was talking about the number one.
And then,
number one.
Number one. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, that, like that.
Yeah, so, yeah, so pretty much, like, yeah, every time Greg mentioned the number one, pretty much Anthony will play the trumpet only once. And then now, like, when it came to Anthony, not Anthony,
Murray.
Pretty much,
Murray.
All right, yes. Then when it came to Mario holding up number 2 and everything, and pretty much Anthony would play the trumpet 2 times. So honestly, like, yeah, that's actually a very nice attention to detail that I gotta give the Wiggles major props for and such.
Indeed. Now in the '94 version, they didn't actually use a trumpet. They actually used Jeb's keyboard to make trumpet sounds.
Oh, interesting. All right. Yeah. So pretty much that's even more creative right there.
Yeah. In the '98 version, they did use a trumpet. So yeah.
And speaking of the '98 version, I will say right over here, the '98 remix version, like honestly, I actually prefer it. I actually prefer it a little bit more than the '94 version, because like, I don't know what they did and everything, but like pretty much they gave a much needed upbeat to that song that it definitely did need and such.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna say this right now.
They actually made it more fun, at least in my opinion.
And I'm gonna say this right now: the '98 version destroys the original for me. The original the original is okay, I guess, but the '98 version is fantastic.
And as for me and everything, like I still like the '94 version for what it is, because like I said, like I pretty much like just using like again like I pretty much has like the title suggests, like a little rumba and everything, and having like the trumpet sounds being corresponding to like the numbers that like the Wiggles were holding up and everything. This is a very fun song in my opinion, and like I said, if I was to hear this as a kid and everything, it would have been an instant favorite for me. And honestly, you know what? I still have a soft spot for this song that I have no problem giving it an 8.
Nice. For me, I'm gonna give Numbers Rumba a 7 because like I said, the '94 version is whatever for me. The '98 version is fantastic. Just for the strength of the '98 version, I'm gonna give it a 7. If this one was never re-recorded, I would have rated this a 5.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how much I didn't like the '94 version. All right, so that's Would you giggle if I told you a silly joke? Would you giggle if I giggle
if my pants were... Whoa, stop right there.
Oh, stop right there, sir. Stop right there, sir. Would you giggle? Go ahead, take this one as well.
All right. Okay, jokes aside, like, the first time Barney and I heard this song and everything, we were both looking at each other and just be like, what do we even say?
What do we have to say? This is the first Wiggle song that was sung by Jeff solo, first of all.
It was, actually. And pretty much, like, the first time, like, we didn't know, like, how should we be able to take the song and such. But then, at least for me and everything, listening to it a couple of more times and, like, thinking on it long and hard and everything, at the end of the day, the song is harmless and such, like... pretty much, like, what Barney and I were thinking back then, we were probably just being, like, a little bit too harsh and probably...
Yeah, and also we gotta remember this. This is something I was gonna mention today.
Go ahead.
If the Wiggles thought a song was not safe for children, they wouldn't have put it on the album. They take lyrics very seriously when it comes to, the Wiggles.
It pretty much makes sense because, like, cause pretty much, like, when you're trying to get a demographic, it's literally like actual little kids. I do mean, like, preschoolers and such. Pretty much you got to make sure that, like, whatever you put in your song, like, it's going to be very, very appropriate.
Exactly. Like I said before, children are your most harshest critics. So if they don't like a song, they don't like it.
Pretty much, yeah. I pretty much like pretty much it's a big reason why, like, I don't know, like, if Sesame Street still does it, but before, like, before, like, every Sesame Street episode, like, could be aired on, like, TV, they had to make sure that their test audience, aka the preschool kids, actually like it and understand what the episode's trying to say before they air it and such.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know if they do it nowadays because nowadays the show is very different than what it was, and I agree with what Frank Oz said. You know who Frank Oz is?
I think he was the one that used to work for the Sesame Street, right? To make the puppets.
Either Grover, Bert,
yes.
Cookie Monster, Miss Piggy for the Muppets. He said he was very upset with what they did to the show because now it's not the same as it was like in the 90s or the 80s. He was very upset about it, and I agree with him. Sesame Street has become more of Sesame Street featuring Elmo more than Sesame Street, and as much as I love Elmo, yeah, that kind of upsets me as well.
Yeah, and honestly, I think another problem is that, like, I think they're trying way too hard to, like, appeal to, like, adults as well too, in some aspects as well too. Exactly. I think, at least from what I'm noticing, at least with, like, some of the clips from, like, the modern, like, Sesame Street and such.
There's a story I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. I have to verify it. But there was a story I heard. Again, if there's any Sesame Street fans watching this video, please comment down below to correct me. There was a story I heard where Carol Spinney, he did Big Bird. Carol Spinney, he was the original Big Bird. Someone reported that Carol Spinney was very outraged that Elmo became like so popular they had to push Big Bird aside. He didn't take that very well. So yeah, even in the 90s, Elmo basically was, the shit, pretty much. But anyway, back to.
But pretty much, yeah. So sweet to the point on what we're trying to say is that, like, pretty much, like, as long as the Wiggles didn't see anything bad with, like, Would You Giggle and everything, and pretty much, like, there was really no reason for, like, me and Barney to, like, be as harsh, or at the very least, like, I thought about this song a little bit, probably way too much, and, like, I had every right to be and everything, because, like, yeah, like I said, honestly, at the end of the day, this song is harmless and such. Is it my favorite song? Definitely not.
Definitely not for me. Definitely not for me either. But go ahead.
But for pretty much, like, for being, like, Jeff's solo song and everything, and what he and pretty much, like, what he made and everything, like, again, it's pretty harmless enough. It's just listening off pretty much, like, what would make a kid laugh and everything. Like, pretty much, like, pretty much would you laugh, like, if you gave your belly a poke, if you tickled your toes, or pretty much wore his pants inside out and everything. Honestly, like, yeah, just, like, picturing it on the top of my head and everything, like, I probably would giggle a little bit of it. Especially, like, if I was a kid and everything, like, I probably would actually laugh, like, just picturing that right in my head and everything, so.
And I did laugh at this song when I was a kid because the piano he used, like, that piano,
honestly, like, actually, yeah, go ahead, you first.
That piano's so wacky that I'm like, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
It is. I mean, like, honestly, like, it actually does fit, and to pretty much, like, let the children know that, like, yeah, this is definitely going to be a very silly song right off the bat and such.
And yeah, like I said, if they saw the lyrics as inappropriate, they would have put this song on the album, pretty much.
No, they wouldn't. So yeah, like I said, while this is not my most favorite song, like, by a long shot and everything, be generous enough, and at the very least, give it like, a 6.
I'm also gonna give it a 6. That's the safest rating I can think of, actually. All right, next up will be Food Poem. That's another intro. It's basically an intro to Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes. It's basically Anthony saying, "It's fun to make food. It really puts me in the mood." And then he goes, yummy. But then after that ends.
Yes, here we go with Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes. So go ahead, Barney, take this one away.
Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes. Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes. Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes. Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes.
Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes. Holy crap. Talk about a hit song out of nowhere. This is it. Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes. The first time I heard this song as a kid, I loved it. And the first time we listened to it, I also loved it. It's a catchy ass song.
It is like pretty much like yeah, like it's a very catchy song and everything, and pretty much like being placed right as the album is about ready to come to an end as well too.
Yeah, so very good placing right there if you think about it. This is a song this is another song like DORTHY, my favorite dinosaur. You need the music video for this one. You need it.
Oh yes, definitely.
And between the two music videos they did for it, the '94 version easily is my favorite.
Yeah, because like honestly, like in terms of like the chase scene and everything, like the '94 version really went all out with that chase scene and everything. And pretty much just having Anthony and pretty much the rest of the group just like chasing around like and everything.
Anthony is Captain Feathersword actually. Anthony is Captain Feathersword.
Sorry, kids. I didn't mean to ruin your dreams and such. All right. But anyway, yeah, like just having Captain Feathersword running around and everything, and like I pretty much like run off screen, and the other characters are just running around, and pretty much at the end are just like, well, what do we do?
Oh, what now? But I will admit, the '98 version, the ending for the '98 version is still pretty good because it just run around.
But honestly, yeah, like you, what also makes the '94 version work and everything as well too. Is that like right after the song, like they actually do have a bit of an ending where the kids are screaming, "They're on your hair, get him!"
Oh, where is it?
They're on your head.
What, in my head? Oh, look, there it is. One for you. Oh man, yeah, that '94 video is amazing. And the song itself, the song on its own, it's amazing as well. I don't have anything negative to say. The song is very good, so I'm gonna give it a 9.
I pretty much, neither do I. Like, I pretty much like Fruit Salad. There's another song where like, not only are the lyrics so simple, but again, indirectly, the Wiggles are literally giving you the ingredients on like what you need in order to make crunchy munchy honey cakes and everything. And honestly, like. I pretty much just another song where, like, again, like, I could easily see, like, some kids probably wanting to try to make some crunchy munchy honey cakes with their parents and such, like, pretty much all due to this song and everything. So again, once again, like, the Wiggles pretty much, like, found a way to not only, like, just make a song that the kids can listen to, but pretty much a song that the kids can actually interact with as well, too. And, like, honestly, like, yeah, again... pretty much the songs like these, pretty much helped me understand why the Wiggles, again, became such household names to begin with.
Compared to Ed Welch, who Ed Welch is like, I'm Ed Welch, songwriter for Thomas and Friends. I'm gonna deliver this song.
I'll go to bed.
I'm gonna deliver this song. Nobody gives a fuck if it's good or not. Fuck if the vocals are 110 volume, and goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like I said, this was something I was talking to this guy about yesterday before we recorded this episode today. Comparing Ed Welch to the Wiggles, Ed Welch doesn't even care if the song, is catchy or not. He's just there to do his job, and that's it.
Pretty much. Like, honestly, Ed Welch is just one of those where, like, after season 8, like, I think you could tell that, like, something must have happened to him at It Entertainment to where pretty much, like, at this point, he was just kind of, like, throwing darts at a board and everything. I just hope that, like, whatever song he makes, like, it's gonna end up being somewhat at least decent at the end of the day.
Yeah, once we get to season 10, there are some songs that he wrote that are amazing, and then there's others that are like, that blow.
Yeah. And then pretty much in season 11, he only wrote one song.
Yeah, which you can tell that was probably the end, because after the Great Discovery, he pretty much left altogether.
Pretty much, yeah. So, like, so again, like, I know we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but pretty much, like, for those wondering why season 12 doesn't actually have a new song and everything, well, that's why.
Because Ed Welch left after the Great Discovery, and I don't think any song he would have written for season 12 would have pretty much, been good.
Pretty much, honestly, like, the only song that, like, I could see him, like, maybe right for season 12 is that, like, maybe he would have written, like, the Best Friends song before the CGI era did.
And a much better version, but that's another topic for another day. Yeah. But anyway, back to Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes.
Anyway, for like Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes, yeah, I agree with Barney. It's not a very strong song, very like pretty much like a strong interactive song with like a very great music video and everything. That honestly, like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 9 out of 10 as well.
All right. Next up is Butterfly's Flit, and this was a song written by Anthony and Anthony's mother, actually. Yeah, it's Butterfly's Flit, and honestly, this is one we're probably gonna have a little bit of a disagreement on. They re-recorded this song much later with Dorothy on vocals, actually, but this is the first one. To me, this song is beautiful.
And honestly, you know what? Like, again, this is another one where, like, after that long break that we needed and everything, like, coming back to this one, like, again, like, I would say it's, like, my strongest song, like, out of the album and everything, but for what it is and everything, like, it's a fine song. Like, pretty much it is a fine song for what it is. Like, I pretty much, like, I do at least, like, appreciate, like, the instruments and everything, and the lyrics themselves, at least, like, from what I can remember, like, they're fine and such. Like, pretty much, like, yeah, I could definitely say that, like, I have, like, softened up my opinions on the song and such and everything.
That's good to hear. For me, Butterfly Split is beautiful, and I'm gonna give it an 8 because I just love Craig's voice in this song.
Let's see. For me, you know what? I'll be a little generous and give it a solid 6.
All right, not bad. I was expecting a 7, but hey, 6 still works. Not bad.
Yeah, it still works.
All right, next up is where is Dumpkin? Where is Dumpkin? Go ahead, take that one.
Alrighty, so pretty much this is the classic, pretty much a nursery rhyme. I'm sure all of us have, like, you know, partaken and have partaken at one point as a kid and everything. I know I did and such. Pretty much hearing, like, the Wiggles covering the song and everything, like, honestly, they did a very good job with it. Much like how they did with, like, you know, the old man and everything, like, pretty much like the way they use the instruments each time that like you know another part of like you know your thumb or your finger like was getting ready to be introduced and everything. Pretty much get the song like pretty much an identity. It's like for a lack of a better word and such. I do like pretty much like I said like you know I was telling this to Barney like we know this is not indirect and everything but honestly, now that it gave me, like, you know, a little heads up on, like, Ringo Starr and everything, like, every time that, like, Greg, you know, mentions the Ringo and everything, we're pretty much like, gotta help your Ringo stand up and everything and such, like, I pretty much, I know that's not intentional and everything, but, like, I can just imagine, like, you know, if somehow Ringo ever did listen to that song and everything, he would just be like, actually, yeah, I do need help standing up.
Can you imagine if the Wiggles existed in the 70s and he would have heard that song because he was drinking a lot in the late 70s.
I mean, to be fair, everything like if this was made in the 70s, like you know, they would have to try very hard to convince the judge that like I pretty much like you know that line was not meant to be taken as a direct jab to Ringo.
It's just I bring that up because in the late 70s he was spiraling out of control. He was drinking a lot. He was making albums. And he was like, I just want to go home. I just want to make this album to go home. Oh man, but yeah, it's not intentional. I know it's not intentional, but still, we can't help but you know point that out.
Very much so. And then pretty much honestly my favorite part of the song where it's just when it got the baby Pinky and everything and Greg was just like, oh, well, I guess we will go with the baby. Let's just say it as loud as we can. Alright? Pretty much I don't care if the baby's crying in a corner, just say louder.
Let's say loudly. Yeah, that is still my favorite part of the entire song. It's like, we might have been a little bit too loud. But who the fuck cares? Let's just sing it as loud as we can.
Yeah, who the fuck cares? Let's sing louder, okay?
Oh man! All right, so for Where's Duncan? All right, so this song is very interesting as well. The first time I heard it as a kid, I was like, I've heard this before. Next.
Yeah.
And when we heard it, and when we started work on this review, you know, the first time I listened to it, I had the same reaction. It was like, whatever. But then we listened to it again, and then when we heard the Pinky part, I was like, okay, you know what? I gotta give it to them there. That is funny as hell.
It is. It definitely is.
And to give the song some credit, at least the Wiggles make it fun. You know, it's not like your typical "Where is Dumpkin" song where you just sing it and that's it. No, they actually take the time to make it good. They actually take the time to make it entertaining.
And they did, and the way they made it work is that, like, again, like, this is another song where, like, Greg pretty much, like, you know, promotes the kids to, like, do this interactively as well, too. Like, you know, pretty much, like, he's inviting the kids to, like, pretty much, like, you know, play, you know, sing the song with them and, like, pretty much do the actions with them.
Pretty much. And And yeah, don't have too much to say on Where is Stumpkin. Now, for me, Where is Stumpkin gets a 7 out of 10.
Alrighty, for me, you know what? Like, yeah, just the way they took the song and everything. Like, I'm gonna give it a strong 8 out of 10. Why not?
All right, next up is the Veil, the instrumental.
All right, go right ahead. You can go ahead and talk about this one if you like.
I fucking love this instrumental. It's only 46 seconds long, but wow, did they use those 46 seconds very well? It's very well done, actually. Just that piano and then that tambourine coming in, beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, pretty much like I don't have too much to say on like the instrumental part in of itself and everything, but like from what I can remember off the top of my head and everything, like yeah, pretty much like yeah, it was pretty fine and such. Like yeah, honestly, I really don't have that much to say on it and such. Like
it's very short too. It's very short too, so
yeah, like pretty much part said, like yeah, it's very short as well too. So honestly, all right. So what kind of rating would you give this one, Bonnie?
I'm gonna give this one a 9, actually.
Ooh, all right, a 9. Let's see. For me, I'm gonna give it a solid 7.
All right, I give this one a 9 because out of nowhere, like these past couple of years, out of nowhere, I fell in love with the instrumental so much. That's why I rate it so highly.
Yeah, pretty much that's understandable right there.
Yeah. So then we got the final song from the album, which is Yawn, Yawn, Yawn. Go ahead. I think you said you had some stuff to say about this one.
Honestly, like, whatever stuff I kind of had to say about Yawn, like, I'll be honest, I forgot about that. I mean, okay, to give this some credit, like, honestly, this was actually at least a lot more of a better song to, like, end off the album than how it was with, like, Here Comes the Song and everything, with it just being about, like, a kitten and such. I guess at the very least for this song and everything, like, you know, pretty much like, yeah, with the kids doing all the exercises from, like, you know, walk to shake your sillies, Willoughby Wallaby Woo, or whatever and everything, like, this is actually a very good song to at least, like, let the kids know, okay, song's over, album is over, go right ahead and pretty much, like, have a good night rest, and then when you're ready to listen to the song again, well, yeah, you know where to find us and such, and honestly, yeah, like, thinking on it some more, and even, like, the way the instruments, I hope get this, like, a calming feel, while at the same time, like, you know that, like, you know, the day's probably not going to be over with just yet, and you can always, like, come back and visit the Wiggles anytime you want. You know what, like, yeah, the more I think about it, like, the song's definitely a very good one to close out the album and such.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorites from the album, but I'm going to be honest and say it's a good album closer. I'll give you that.
Alright, so for me, honestly, okay, like, now that I was talking about it a little bit more, I'm gonna be a little more generous to give this one a 7, because, like I said, like, you know, the song finds the right balance of, like, the album coming to an end, but at the same time, like, you know, if you ever want to come back and listen to this album anytime that you want, then, like, it gives this kid, like, a very calming feel, knowing that, like, the day is over, but they can always have some more fun, like, you know, sometime tomorrow, whenever they're ready and such.
I agree. So for me, so for me, I'm gonna give Yawn, Yawn, Yawn a 7. What about you?
Alrighty, honestly, I'm also gonna give it a 7 as well.
Alrighty, and with that, we just finished the album. Now, before we move on to the VHS, let's go ahead and give our rankings.
Alrighty.
Alright, mine will get a 78%, actually.
Ooh, actually, oh, nice, alright, so that's actually close to an 8 out of 10. Okay, actually, that's a very strong one right there.
Totally. What about you?
Alright, here's mine. So I have a 141 out of 180. That means it's also a 78, so an 8 out of 10 for me. It gets a strong B.
Yeah, it's a strong B for me as well. Now, I will say this about the album before we get into the top 5. Between this and the debut album, I'm still gonna have to go with the debut album, because the debut album for me is an all killer, no filler. But this one will be a very close second.
Alright, honestly for me, it's been a long while since I've listened to the album, at least the debut album and everything. But in terms of, like, at least coming back to this album, honestly, I would not mind coming back to this album, once in a blue moon and everything, like, you know, if I ever need some, background music and stuff while I work on other stuff, like, because at the very least, like, even with the songs that, like, weren't all that strong and everything, like, honestly, there was not one song in here that, like, that pretty much to where, like, I want to skip it and such, like, each and every one of these songs have their own, like, pros to them and everything that, like, pretty much I definitely would not mind listening to them once in a while and such.
Me neither. And even the songs we rated very low, they're not that bad. Honestly, they're not Ed Welsh type of bad.
Oh, I know they're not. Thank God for that.
Thank God for that, pretty much. And yeah, this is a very strong album, and I wouldn't mind revisiting it. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our top 5 songs. So, I'm gonna go first this time. Alright, so number 5, let me put my phone here. At number 5, we have Veil, the instrumental. Now, you might be saying, what the fuck, Barney? Why the fuck do you have an instrumental in your top 5?
Pretty much. We'll say it right there. Pretty much this is our top 5. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, we can do whatever the fuck we want. but in all seriousness, I just love Veil so much. Veil is an instrumental that like I said, I fell in love with it out of nowhere. And the more I listen to it, the more I love it so much. So that's why I put it at number 5. Now, if I had to pick a song to replace Veil, it had to be Shake Your Sillies Out, easily. Yeah, but yeah, at number 5 we have Veil. At number 4, Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes. Number 3, Hot Potato. Number 2, Willoughby Wallaby Woo. And number 1, Shaky Shaky.
Alrighty, not bad. Not a bad list. And honestly, pretty much like my list is almost an exact same copy as Barney's and such.
Except one song is different.
Just slightly different, actually.
Go ahead.
So so pretty much, yeah, here are my top 5. So number 5 would be Hot Potato, a classic for a reason and such. Number 4 would be, let's see, Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes. Actually, no, I take that back. Number 4 for me is going to be Shaky Shaky, actually. And number 3 would actually be Crunchy Munchy Honey Cakes. Number 2 would be Willoughby Wallaby Woo. And number 1 would be the one and only Fruit Salad.
There we go. Yeah, our top 5s are a little bit different, but still, very, very strong top 5.
Pretty much, and like I said, with the Fruit Salad and everything, like I said, this was just kept getting better and better every time I listened to it. And I'm just like, you know what? This song is popular for a reason that there's no reason it shouldn't be number 1.
Pretty much. Now it almost made my top 5, but I decided there were some stronger songs better. And honestly, I don't know if I should tell this story or not when I was on my cruise, because I took a break from YouTube because I was in a cruise. I don't know if I should tell this story or not.
Go right ahead.
But long story short,
that's up to you if you want to tell it. But.
All right, so long story short, I was in a cruise a couple of weeks ago, and every time we went to the 16th deck for breakfast, there was this employee saying, "Washy before yummy yummy," just to wash hands, just to wash your hands, pretty much.
Yeah.
And she was nice, she wasn't that bad. But then came one morning where we couldn't find a chair, so we had to sit right around the corner where she was. And I had to hear her say that almost a million times. And I was like so fucking annoyed by that after a while that I was like, I think I never went back to eat breakfast up there. And that's one of the reasons why every time I hear yummy yummy, I'm like, shut up, unless you're the Wiggles, shut up. Oh my god. But yeah, that's what happened to me in the cruise, and and when I came back from my trip, I told this guy, right now, don't say the word yummy, don't say the words yummy yummy, because I'm so goddamn sick of them.
And pretty much in the back of my mind, I was just like, well, Barney, we're gonna have to talk about yummy yummy, right?
But yeah, jokes aside, she was just there doing her job, so, But yeah, that's the album. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the VHS very, very quickly. So, do you have anything you want to say before I talk about the differences?
Not really much. Honestly, did you want me to talk about, how I accidentally, discovered the puppets, or do you want to wait till we get to the changes?
No, let's go ahead and talk about the puppets, because I think everybody wants to hear that already.
Okay, so pretty much when Barney and I were getting ready to go back to listen to Yummy Yummy again and everything, and actually finally record this episode for you guys.
We had to push it back. We had to push it back a couple times because stuff kept getting piled up on my schedule and yours as well. So we had to push it back a couple times. But go ahead.
Pretty much. Not only with the stuff and everything, but the first time that I actually watched the Yummy Yummy VHS, at least the '94 version, was actually on YouTube. And after I watched it from YouTube, something in the back of my mind was nagging at me that I can't help with the feeling, but like I missed a song from that VHS. And then pretty much I suddenly remember why like Barney and I had to use a different site to watch the 1994 version of VHS because yeah, as Barney said, like the two songs that like were featured in that VHS, pretty much Hug Your Teddy Bear and the number Rumba and everything. They pretty much had to pay like pretty much anytime they wanted to use that song and everything, they would have to pay like royalties and such. So pretty much like. To avoid that headache and everything, they just removed those two songs from the YouTube version altogether and such.
Yeah, which kind of sucks because Teddy Bear Hug is a classic, which we're going to talk about once we get to the next album, Big Red Car. But yeah, it's basically due to royalties.
Like, yeah, I can't wait to be talking about that song because honestly, that might be my new favorite Wiggle song. If I'm being completely honest.
I love Teddy Bear Hug. Teddy Bear Hug was my favorite Wiggle song for a time, actually. Believe it or not.
And pretty much like yeah, for good reason and such. Like. Yeah, like honestly, like you, I can't wait till we talk about that song and such.
Me neither. I love
and
Teddy Bear Hug.
Then pretty much going back to me, when I was getting ready to listen to the remake, I wasn't too sure like what version of the remake that Bonnie and I listened to. If it was like the 1998 or the 99 version. And when I looked at the Wiggle Wikipedia and everything, and I saw 99. I pretty much thought that like maybe that was the version and like we watched the very first time. Like I said, it's been a long while since we've seen the VHS.
Yeah, and you also got to remember, we had to basically cancel everything because once this guy had the family emergency, we pushed everything away.
Pretty much. So pretty much I had to like remember on my own what version of like the remake did we listen to. So pretty much I picked the 99 version. And that was when I saw the
Alright, so wait. Shaky ends. So shaky ends.
Go ahead and explain the puppets.
Shaky ends and then.
Can you point your fingers into the twist?
The puppets. Alright, so the puppets, let me give a little bit of background on the puppets so we can explain. That was an experiment that was something the Wiggles were experimenting with for 2 years actually. And little did they know, those puppets were very poorly received. They didn't know how poorly received they were until they got complaints from their US fans actually.
Ooh, alright. I'm a little curious. What about like the Australian kids? Like what did they think about them?
It wasn't that bad, because they used them so much on tours over there, on Australian tours that they were like, whatever.
Okay, so pretty much it was more the U.S. had a big problem with them, but pretty much the Australian kids were just like, man.
Yeah, the last time they used them was for the Dorothy the Dinosaur and Friends VHS for 2000. That was the last time they used them. Right now, if you're wondering, are the puppets still around? There's only one puppet that survived. Actually, there's only one puppet.
I believe this was the Greg one, right?
Nope. The Jeff one is the last remaining puppet that, as of right now, exists. I don't know if Anthony and Murray still have theirs, but yeah, Greg's puppet disintegrated back in 2020. He basically tweeted on Twitter that his puppet had disintegrated completely. And speaking of Greg, let me tell you guys a story he talked about in one of his Q&As. So one day he was cleaning his attic, and he couldn't see anything, so he went for a flashlight. And then all of a sudden he hit something. He moves the flashlight, and there's his Wiggly puppet, and he jumped. He was like, "Whoa, what is that?" And he even said it was a little bit creepy. And even he admits that the Wiggly puppets were probably not the best idea. And yeah, they've come out in recent years to say, yeah, they regret using the puppets.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, honestly, the first time I saw them, at least in terms of like the images, I was like, I guess I can see how some people would find it creepy, but I didn't like saw them that creepy.
Little did you know.
When I saw the 99 version, until I saw the 99 version of like, yummy. I literally told this guy like the first time I saw those segments, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
Oh man!
I pretty much like okay, like honestly, like the Maury Anthony and Jeff one, like even the one with Captain Feather story, like I could give him a slight pass on it. Like I wasn't that bothered by him and such, and like the high pitched like a chipmunk voice and everything. I was like, I guess I could kind of get used to it and such. But then in that like one segment where like the Greg was like running up towards the screen, even I was just like, get away from me.
Oh man, but yeah. Oh no.
What?
We kind of forgot to talk about something.
Oh, I know what we forgot.
The bonus tracks. But we can talk about them because we're not gonna rank them on the album. So don't worry. We'll talk about them very briefly. So we got 2 bonus tracks we were gonna talk about, but we forgot because we were trying to run this as fast as we could. But before we continue with the VHS, we have 2 bonus tracks we're gonna talk about. The first up is an instrumental called The Chase. Go ahead and talk about it.
So, alright, so The Chase. So the first time I heard about it, and Barney told me, like, this one was going to be an instrumental, at first, like, I wasn't too sure what to make of it and everything, because, honestly, like, you know, The Chase, the instrument, like, part itself and everything, like, it wasn't all that bad and such, and pretty much, like I was telling Barney as well, too, like, pretty much just one of those songs where, like, I could easily, like, see this being part of, like, some kind of video game, like, you know, like, pretty much if the Wiggles ever, like, decided to, like, you know, make a video game about themselves and everything, I could definitely see this instrumental actually being part of, like, you know, the soundtrack and such for the video game.
And it was actually used.
Pretty much like
And it was actually you may not know this because we haven't gotten to it yet, but it was actually used in their movie for like 30 seconds. So it was actually made for the movie first, right. And then they basically recorded it for the TV series, for the credits, I'd say.
Yes, pretty much like pretty much pretty much like the latter part I did know. The former part, like, honestly, like, it actually does make sense. Like, you know, honestly, I can actually see them using it for, like, you know, a movie and such as well too. Because, like, it's pretty much like, it definitely has like some. It definitely does have something that, like, that you would see in, like, you know, like a little chase scene in a movie and such.
Yeah, definitely. Wait until we get to the movie and you'll get the context of where it's used.
Pretty much for me, like, I don't have too much to say about, like, the chase itself and everything, but I will say, like, the other 2 times where, like, I used to, like, listen to it again and everything, like, pretty much, like, it did help me, like, give a more positive perspective on the instrumentational itself. So for me, I'm going to give it a solid 7.
All right, so as a kid, I loved it, but there was one small nitpick I had with it as a kid. Not anymore because I've heard it so many times that it's a classic for me. But as a kid, the only nitpick I had with it is that I would have wished that they would have turned it down a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, same here. Like, honestly, I think the part I want to say, like, right around the 3-minute or at least, like, the 2-minute mark, I think that would have been a part where, like, I would have cut it down a little bit.
There was the one part I would have cut it is where we hear ba-dum bum ba-dum bum, like much deeper. That's the only part I would have cut. So we could have made at least 2 minutes and 50 seconds. But as it stands, I still love this instrumental. Actually, it's very upbeat, and you know when you hear it, you know you gotta run. For me, I'm gonna give this one a 10 actually. So yeah, that's the first bonus track. The second bonus track is
pretty much the next bonus track. I think we did. Honestly, I think this was something that, like, you and I did brush on a little bit when we did songs and stories. But pretty much, like, now we're getting to, like, the 99 version of our bonus rocket on the sea and such.
Yep, that's the one.
And honestly, like, there's not much we need to say about it except better, much better than the original and such. I still like the original for what it is, but pretty much every time I listen to this version and everything, like, this is definitely the much better and more exciting version. And that pretty much like what stories and songs should have been. Yeah,
what stories and songs should have been. This is more like it. And yeah, you know, don't have too much to say because we already talked about our thoughts on it back in stories and song stuff. But this remake gets a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree. I definitely agree right there.
All right, so back to the VHS. Now that we got those 2 tracks out of the way, and if we were to rank, then it'll be a 20. And if we were to add that to our rankings, it'll be 160. So, you know, it'll still be a B as far as I'm aware. Let me take a look. Oh, no, it will be an 88% actually. So those 2 songs would have, you know, ranked.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, but I'm going to keep it as a B.
And actually, I don't think I gave my rating for, like, the our bonus rocket on C. So for me, I would give it a strong. You know what? I'm going to give it a strong 9. Why not? I'm giving it a strong 9 out of 10.
So 7 and a 9, right?
Yes.
All right, so yours would be 87. So yours will still be a B pretty much. But yeah, now that we got those two bonus tracks out of the way, let's get back to the VHS. So as we were talking,
Alright,
we were talking about the
back to the
puppet.
VHS.
We were talking about the puppets. So those puppets were added. Those puppets were added because there was a Raffi song, right where the puppets would be actually.
Yes, pretty much that's true. So pretty much again, like, pretty much much like the reason why like the two songs from like the '94 and even the '98 remake of Yummy Yummy were cut. Pretty much, if the Wiggles wanted to use their songs, especially in the U.S., they had to pay royalties and such.
To Raffi.
And because the U.S. and lyrics did not want to do that, this is the reason why they had to like replace it with the puppet segments.
Exactly. So that's why. And originally, where the puppets are was Teddy Bear Hug, the '98 version. The video.
Yes, a teddy bear hug, and then another one where like originally Numbers Rumba would have been at.
Yeah, the second part where the puppets appeared again was where Numbers Rumba was to be. And here's the funny part, actually, they cut those two songs from the video, but you can still see them in the credits.
Yes, pretty much that is actually true. I can imagine a little kid, like, if they even bothered reading credits in the first place. But I can imagine a little kid actually, was the type of kid that actually read the credits. They would have been like, did I miss a song?
Yeah, I was actually one of those. I was confused because I was like, wait, wasn't the puppets after Shaky Shaky? And then I realized, oh, it's because they used the same master from the Australian VHS, and I'm like, oh, so they didn't bother to edit the credits, right?
I mean, hey Barney, you gotta remember, okay, they were on a budget of $1, okay?
Fuck.
There's only so much you can change, man, with $1.
But yeah, honestly, cutting those two songs was a great shame, honestly.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, okay, at the very least, I could kind of understand why maybe they want to cut Numbers Rumba a little bit, but honestly, like, yeah, it is a crying shame that, like, they cut out Teddy Bear Hug at the very least.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's the reason why the US version got the puppets and the Australian version still got Teddy Bear Hug and Numbers Rumba either way. So in case anybody's wondering what the difference is between the US and Australia, that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, and pretty much like I said, like, after looking at the puppets now and watching them move in action, yeah, now I can understand why, like, at least in terms of the US kids and everything, like, why the US had a big problem with them and such, because I pretty much, like, I was explaining this to Barney, at least, like, giving him my theory as to why the puppets, like, fail so hard and everything. I think the reason why the puppets fail so hard and why, like, a couple of them were so creeped out by them is that, like, pretty much is that, like, like, whoever designed the puppets and everything, like, it pretty much made them too realistic and such, and pretty much, like, when you make something too realistic, like, almost on the nose on, like, how the Wiggles are, like, supposed to look and everything, that could definitely play a part in, like, why children were so creeped out by them, because, like, they definitely do have, like, this uncanny feeling to where, like, they're not real, but at the same time and everything, every time you look at them, sometimes you can't help to think they're gonna do something to you.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. They didn't scare me when I first watched it. I was like, what is this? Why is there these puppets instead of the Wiggles? And I was just more confused than scared. I was like, and that remix, oh my god. But I will say this wasn't the first time that remix was released, actually.
Oh, interesting.
It was a bonus track on the Wiggles movie soundtrack at first.
Actually, you are right. You are definitely right on that.
It was called Wiggle Mitts. I don't know if you heard it. It's called Wiggle Mitts. And basically, they turned that into a music video for the US, and yeah, I think you already know how the reception with the puppets was, over here, because we already talked about it. So the puppets failed, and I appreciate the Wiggles trying to experiment. I appreciate the effort in trying to try something different, but yeah, sometimes experiments fail for a reason.
But pretty much sometimes, like, when you have a thought experiment, sometimes it's a good idea to have someone tell you, you know what, maybe you should probably not do that.
Yeah, but I still give them credit for at least trying to see if it worked. But yeah, now before we end off this episode, let's talk about the differences between the 94. Oh, wait. One more thing we gotta talk about. The Dorothy story from the 94 tape. The Dorothy story about her birthday party. So that one is basically a short story about Dorothy, them preparing for Dorothy's birthday party. And it's a short story, but it's still pretty good. You know, it's one of those where they invite everybody, and Captain Featherswords tries to steal the cake, and you know, there's a part where they pull out the Greg's the hankies, and then they accidentally pull
the hanky. And pretty much right at the end, Dorothy like literally pulls his underpants off, and pretty much she slapped Greg on the face. She slapped Greg on the face and walked off.
Oh man, I actually forgot about that part until we rewatched it a year ago.
And I mean honestly, like, you know, it's a cute little joke. Like, probably one of the very few times the Wiggles were at least able to make like a somewhat adult joke out of it and such.
Indeed, and well, you know, they used the song that I fucking despise.
But the good news is it's short.
It's shortened, yeah.
It's a bit different.
Thank goodness. But the story itself is pretty good. The story itself is pretty good. You know, it was a good way to end off the VHS. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, like, hey, like, you know, you probably already know the song is shit when at the very end, everyone but Jeff is falling asleep.
Yeah, that part. They did it the Wiggles did it first in Wiggle Time, and then everybody does it, and Jeff is like, "What a life I live."
Pretty much what life I live. Like, so I'm not allowed to sleep on the job, but you're allowed to sleep before the credits roll.
But yeah, now let's talk about the differences between the 94 and 98 version. There's not much difference between both of them. They both have different music videos. The only difference I could find for both versions is that when they they reshot those music videos. That's the only difference I can find. And they also had a fruit salad to the 98 version, which wasn't on the original. That's a big difference.
Yes, because like we said, fruit salad was already in, like, you know, the 93 version of a Wiggle Time and such. So technically, the only way fruit salad could have been on Yummy Yummy was at the end credits.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's it pretty much. I don't think there was any other difference. Now, let's end this up before we do the outro. Which version will you pick? 94 or 98?
Honestly, I would go with 94, honestly.
Yeah, I would go with 94 as well. I would switch some versions a little bit. I will switch some versions of the songs, but overall, yeah, 94. No argument.
And the reason why I picked 94 is that, like, nothing against the Wiggles and everything, but, like, honestly, like, they had a lot more energy going on with, like, the 94 version and everything that, like, pretty much, like, it just made the whole thing, like, again, like, you know, if I was a kid living in Australia, I had this VHS as a kid and everything, like, you know, I would have had a lot of fun watching it and such, because, like I said, like, you know, the Wiggles definitely had, like, just the right amount of energy to it and everything that would definitely make any kid want to, like, get up and dance along to, like, some of the songs, like Do the Monkey and all.
And all that, yeah. Honestly, yeah, I agree with you right there. And also, I gotta give props to them for something. The budget didn't run out while they were filming, so round of applause.
No.
The budget didn't run out.
Woo!
The reason I say that is because in the next video, Anthony told a story in the documentary they did in 2023. He said that there were some videos where the budget ran out, and so that's why he looks so different. But we'll talk about that in the next video, because the next video they were filming it, but the budget ran out, so they had to wait a little bit to complete it later on. And anyway, folks,
right,
that was yummy.
Yep, and honestly, like I said, talk about a very strong album. Like, I pretty much after coming back from, like, honestly, like we said before, a mediocre album at best to now coming out with, like, this album where, like I said, like, honestly, like I said, not one song, there was not one song where, like, I wanted to, like, actually purposely skip or anything. Like, every single song from this album and everything, pretty much even the ones that weren't all that grand at the end of the day, like, they still had a lot of good things about it and such. And like I said, I have to give massive props to that front.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, folks, thank you all so much for watching this episode of It's a Wiggly Wiggly podcast. It's been a long time since we filmed that episode, but we're finally back.
Yes, and pretty much get used to it because we don't know how long it's going to take before the next episode comes out. But it's good to be back.
It's good to be back. Yeah, like I said, like Zecoa said, these episodes are slowly starting to become more and more sporadic. So that's why I'm glad we said these episodes are going to be like sporadic, because thank God we said that. But yeah, we don't know exactly when we're going to do Big Red Car, but once we're feeling it, we'll go ahead and do Big Red Car.
Yes, and pretty much make sure that you guys stay subscribed so that way you also know when Big Red Car is about ready to come out.
Yeah. So anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching this episode. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you guys want to see more episodes of the podcast, hit that subscribe button as well. Also, don't forget to check out our separate channels, OT-Pot7 for me and Zecoa Diesel for Zecoa. Both channels will be in the description below. And I think that's pretty much it. So until then, this has been Bonnie with
Zecoa Diesel,
saying thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys real soon for the next episode of It's a Wiggly Wiggly podcast. So until then, folks, take care of yourselves and bye-bye.